And we are live for another episode of First Strike. Before we're going to start the show, we're going to plug our sponsor, FaceToFaceGames.com, the #1 place to get your Magic of the Gathering singles. This week, we got another part of our spring sale, Volume 2, hundreds of cards, up to 50% off. So go to FaceToFaceGames.com, click on the first banner to check out all the cards that you can save on. Also, go check our Facebook page to learn how to win $50 store credits. We got the full gang in the house, minus Elliot, who's practicing Legacy at the local Montreal shop. But we got Kelly in the house.
Hey, how's it going?
Kelly Ackerman from F2F Toronto.
Broadcasting live from the new Toronto store. Pretty exciting.
And man, so let's just get right down to it. Tell us about the store.
Okay, well, I'm not even going to tell you. You can see it. We have this elaborate, decisive orange stripe. Okay, a wall with an orange stripe. It's beautiful. Tell me it's not beautiful. That's really the most exciting thing about the new Toronto store. One of many exciting things, but that is pretty exciting. We are 8 days out from moving in here, so it's finally starting to come together, look like a store. Let's see if I can get a tilt the camera, get a shot of our beautiful live edge wood tables. These gorgeous tables. They're going to be so nice to play Magic on. We've got 3, not 1, not 2, but 3 ground floor washrooms for customers to use, which is pretty exciting. We've all been in that game store where you're like waiting a really long time for that guy who like just drove in from like 4 hours away and is like destroying the washroom. You don't have that problem here. You won't have that problem in this store. It's gonna be great. You just use one of the other washrooms, and you don't need to go into that one for a while. It's gonna be great.
I've been loving the social media countdown, like counting down. Like one of your latest posts was the fact that you're gonna have lots of plugs for people to plug their phones to charge their phones and devices.
There they are in all their USB outlets. USB outlets. Yeah, you can charge your phone. You could charge your iPod, your tablet. Whatever. If you've got a Chromebook, you can even charge your Chromebook right out of the outlet. It's going to be ridiculous. It's going to be great.
So for people who don't know, where's the new location?
So the new store, 1398 Danforth, is like a kilometer down the road from where we were before. So it's still right outside the subway station. It's just Greenwood subway station now for those who live in Toronto. Those who don't live in Toronto, it's still in Toronto. You still have to come to Toronto to visit the shop, which is really exciting. So yeah, we're 8 days away. I'm like losing my mind a little bit because there's a lot of different stuff going on, but it's really exciting and it's coming together. We actually have 2 of your guys, Will and Kyle from the warehouse, have flown in as emergency reinforcements to help us like put price gun stickers on all the sleeves and get them on all the the pegs and everything. And the mountain of cardboard, because we had like all the tables, all the chairs, all the new tables, new chairs, new like furniture and stuff. There's just so much cardboard. Everyone walking by outside on the Danforth is like, what is going on? Why is this a cardboard factory? I'm so confused because it's garbage night tonight. So it's like a giant cardboard mountain.
So you've been at the old location for a few years now. Did you learn anything that would make you set it up differently like this time around? Is something different based on what you've learned?
Oh yeah, for sure. There's so many things we've learned. And 5 years ago when we got to work opening the Toronto shop, there was sort of a level of game store that was sort of acceptable. And, we didn't have a store in Toronto. And so we sort of built a shop that was like welcoming and inviting. We were focused on customer service and all that. And that sort of welcoming experience is still going to be with us. It's just, everything is just a little more fine-tuned, and, there's a lot of lessons that came out of that. What do you guys think? What's your #1 thing when you go to a game store? What do you look forward to at the game store? What do you wish your game store had that we could bring to the table? Let's see if we got them.
Televisions.
like to stream Arena on, or to like
you know how the one that you guys are still at now had a television like mounted midway on the wall for for round clocks or streaming entertainment in between rounds or events or during the day, or even just promotional things. I like that sort of thing. It just keeps me entertained while I'm twiddling my thumbs in between rounds, because they always go over by like half an hour.
Excellent. Well, there is already a TV. We've been streaming every last Sunday, and then 2 days ago, we streamed Game of Thrones here at the shop. We had like a friends and family Game of Thrones catch up night, and then 2 nights ago we watched the first episode here. And we're gonna take a week off for Easter because we'll be in Niagara at the Grand Prix. But starting pre-release weekend, if you come to Sunday night two-headed giant pre-release, don't bring your small children, or if you do bring your small children, drop at the end of round 2, because people are definitely going to start getting their heads chopped off in the show. It's going to be great.
Andy, did you have a suggestion?
I just remember just kind of piggybacking on what Derek said, is back in my LGS going days, I did always appreciate a TV to be streaming other events that happen. It's sometimes I would go to the LGS and would just watch the Pro Tour. And sometimes you would just go to the LGS and hope that something else is streaming or something like that. And I don't know, I've watched Mean Girls at my local game store and had a good time. So I think TVs are pretty sweet. I think another thing is good tables and chairs, good ones, not the same Costco ones that everyone has.
Kelly's showing us the high quality chairs.
A hell of a chair. Test the wall. Just toss the chair right at the wall.
Just throw the chair. Just throw the TV.
I like clean looking spaces. There's some dungeon looking danger zones that are LGSs that I've been to that just I don't like to go there because I just don't enjoy the way it looks. Invites the wrong kind of crowd, but keeping things clean, I think, is pretty important. More important than the TV, I'll say.
I think the biggest thing for us was having a space that is welcoming and inviting to everyone. And so part of that was, now that we're on the ground floor, we're no longer on the second floor. We wanted an accessible entrance, so it won't be ready for open, but soon after we're gonna have like a button you can press that'll open the door. I'll never forget, there was an RPTQ we were hosting at the Toronto shop, and we got a phone call half an hour before the event started, and this guy was like, "Hey, I'm downstairs. I'm trying to come in," and we're like, "Okay, come on up." And he's like, "I'm in a wheelchair." And we're like, "Oh shit!" It's the RPTQ. It's not like he had a choice of where he was going to go, right? It wasn't like he'd go to the other store down the street or anything. And so he was super cool about it. We went down and we were like, how can we best assist you in attending this Magic tournament? And he was a beast. He was like, just carry my chair up, man. I got this. So he grabbed the handrails and he was just brought himself up and I was super impressed. But it was, it was not ideal. So being on a ground floor with an accessible front door and an accessible washroom is something that is just going to make this space a place that everyone can use, and not every game store has the ability to do that. And I'll be the first to admit it is not, for 5 years, we were just on the second floor and we just had to say no to this huge portion of the population. Even moms and dads with strollers and stuff just couldn't really participate in the space before. So we're really, really excited to be moving to the ground floor.
I think the real question is, how close are you guys to a pizza?
So much further. We are 1.2 kilometers away from a pizza. In fact,
Good food nearby. Good food nearby is a big deal.
So we had the cafe in the shop before, and but we're moving 4 doors down from Red Rocket, which is the local coffee shop, and they actually do wholesale baked goods out of the back too. So they have scones and muffins that they do up fresh every day. But I was there's no way we can hold a candle to what they do. So why would I fight against them? We'll just work together. I know Billy, the owner, so we've partnered up with them, and they're going to have like fresh snacks delivered every day, and they're going to do like roast beef sandwiches and stuff like that. So, and then there is an A&W down the road, which has delightful poutine and excellent Beyond Meat burgers for the vegetarians and vegans interested. And yeah, we're going to expand our like snack selection a little bit too. So like more variety when it comes to knickknacks and snacky doos.
Yeah. The cafe part never worked for Montreal because we were just surrounded by Dunkin' Donuts, Blackstrap, different places that were just sushi shop, sushi time rather, and then they just offered better food. Like, what were we gonna do?
Yeah. Yep. Well, it's, you know, and that's the thing is we're moving into a neighborhood that's more like that with more variety. We'd rather work with those partners and those neighbors than to try to compete against them in a way that just doesn't make sense, you know? So we want everyone to have access to the best that the neighborhood has to offer. There's like a really great pub 2 doors over that has these big long tables that you could, in theory, fit 8 people around on a Sunday night. And if you just happen to open some booster packs and pass them around the table while you're drinking your beer, you know, that's it's up to you. But yeah, so it's gonna be fun. I'm really excited about the neighborhood.
Is there anything special you're planning for like the opening day?
So the whole first opening week, we're making, you know, not to give too much away, but in our upcoming event countdown, you'll see we're sort of revising and fine-tuning our event schedule, and our events for the first 7 days will all the constructed events will be free to enter, which is pretty exciting. So you can come out, play some Magic, enjoy the new space. And of course, the first weekend, we're open at the new shop. Like we're open on the Wednesday. So Thursday, Friday night is midnight pre-release into a full pre-release weekend where like previously for the last like every pre-release since we've opened, like Fate Reforged was our very first pre-release at the shop. And since then, every single pre-release, we've had to turn people away just because we only had room for like 65 people in the store. So, or like if we turned it into a real sardine can, we could get like 75 in. But now we can fit 100 people comfortably, and we're going to have pre-release on opening weekend. So it's super, super exciting. I can't wait to see like all the like moms and grandmas in the neighborhood, like out for a Saturday afternoon stroll and looking in and being like, what the hell? These guys just opened and they're full. What's going on? It's going to be great.
Yeah, I'm really excited. I'm really excited to see it, to see the finished product. You always make it look nice. I mean, the place, the old place was comfy looking, was great, was a great experience, a great place to play in.
Well, we look forward to continuing that on in the new space. For those who haven't been, jump on Facebook, follow along. We're doing this daily countdown. We're announcing all the exciting stuff. If you're in Toronto or the GTA, come out to the shop. We've got little coupons you can pick up that'll give you a good, 13.98, because that's our new address, 13.98% off your first purchase at the new shop. Grab yourself a coupon and come visit us at the new shop. If you haven't signed up for pre-release, sign up for pre-release. It's going to sell out, even, because we're still limited by how much product we have. So jump online, facegames.com. You can find the link there. If you're in Montreal, sign up for the Montreal shop's pre-release. They also will probably sell out because I know it gets pretty crowded in there too. That's right. Yeah, Car, like midnight pre-release will be like 1 billion people or whatever. It's super fun. Pre-releases, wherever you are, go to your pre-release. Pre-release is the best, especially this set. Like, why should I go? Planeswalkers, a bajillion Planeswalkers. It's gonna be so fun. Like that. You remember, like when you're cracking your pre-release packs, you're like, oh, I hope I get a Planeswalker. I hope I get one. I hope I get one. Now you're like, I hope I get 6. Oh wait, I did.
It's pretty nuts because I think this is the first time we're going to be, us, Montreal, we're hosting all 9, and we used to host 7, so that's going to be interesting. We've had to take out a round or two, a round from certain pre-releases to be able to fit 9, and now we have two-headed giants. So I'm excited for the set as well.
One last thing I will say, and this is it was 30 hours ago we opened registration for the MCQs, the Magic Cup qualifiers, or Mythic Champion. I don't know, and whatever MCQ Mythic Championship qualifier.
You got it.
Yeah. So we opened registration for those, and both pre-registrations, the Toronto event on June 15th, the Montreal event on May 11th, both of those are selling like gangbusters, and they are limited. Wizards have said it's capped at 226 players. I think the Toronto one is about 20% full. Like 30 hours later, we've had like 40 registrations or something like that. And the Montreal one, I think, is close to that as well. So if you do want to come to the Mythic Championship qualifier, register, plug.
I mean, it's sick. It's going to be sick.
It's so funny because we built this whole thing of like, oh, it's going to be fun and we'll make a bunch of good prizes. I hope the promo's okay. And then they spoil Arcbound Ravager. And I remember like looking and being like, Arcbound Ravager. I walked over to the showcase and looked in the showcase, like $60. And I looked at our registration, like $70. Like, well, all right. I guess this will sell out then. That's fine. So
I do expect both to sell out before it happens. Right. Anything else, Kelly? And
anyone have any questions for me? I have like a little baby and like a large child at home who's like 7 now. So I'm gonna go home and take care of them. But if you guys have any questions about the new shop, about Toronto, about Magic, Derek, you did a great job on Sunday. I was tuning into your stream. You were hosting, or you were one of the commentators at the big Harry T 3K. That was fun.
Yeah, that was fun. That we randomly got a lot of viewers all of a sudden because I think Gabe Nassif hosted us.
Nice.
Right for top 8. So like I was getting messages like about like basically what you said. Like I wasn't expecting that. Like we were just hanging out doing commentary. So yeah. That was fun.
Were you guys in the venue? Like this was like a 3K out in Scarborough, like a local Toronto event.
Yeah, we were like, so I don't know how many people know about Bingaman's in Kitchener, but it's basically like a fun park. So they have it in Bingaman's, and then they had this one at a Legion, and so we were just like in the corner of the building, in like the event hall, just like with a computer and a sound setup. And then they had the cameras and everything like the next room over. So I don't know. I'm pretty sure they couldn't hear us, but far enough away so they couldn't hear us. But it was like very, very basic. We didn't have front cameras or anything, but it did the job right. I guess people enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was fun. I tuned in round 7 when Dilks was just like Matt Dilks, local Toronto savant of the Primeval Titans. He's just like, that man just keeps going. How did that match end? I had to go.
I don't even remember like what round 7 was.
He was playing. His opponent was playing like Spirits, I think.
Yeah.
He was just like, whoops.
Dilks won. He was like super dead, and then somehow he wasn't super dead, and he just. I don't know if anybody knows Dilks, but he just doesn't smile. So he like won a tight one and then just was like business as usual. Yeah, exactly. Just like, how'd that go? I got to play 3 more rounds. It's like, yeah, you do.
There was an amazing moment when he won the Ultimate Showdown of Ultimate Destiny, which is our like 6-month invitational where you get like literally $1,000 cash. You have to qualify for it, then you get $1,000 cash for getting first or second place, and you get your name on like our giant like 11-foot tall trophy that we have that's like totally over the top and outrageous. And he wins, and I'm like, okay, Matt, let's take a picture for social media. And he's like, I'm like, can you smile a little? He's like, no, it's fine.
Smiling's not his thing.
Not his thing. Just winning epic Magic tournaments. That's all he cares about. Just win more Magic. So,
all right, we'll let you get back to your family, Kelly. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks for having me. It's super exciting. We can't wait. And I think Thursday next week, like the day after opening day, we're going to be doing a bunch of live streaming. Alias V She's a big arena streamer who is actually one of the commentators at the Mythic Invitational. We just invited her to come down. She like drafts at the shop and plays Standard on Saturdays. So we invited her to come down. She's booked the day after work, and she's just gonna like stream arena all day with as soon as War of the Spark goes live, assuming I can figure out how to make streaming happen. But well, it'll be fine. It'll be fine. So Thursday afternoon, hey. Yep.
All right.
Plug.
We'll see you later, Kelly. Ciao. Thanks for coming on.
See you guys.
All right. That was Kelly Ackerman, president of Face-to-Face Games Toronto. While I get a bunch of special modern experts on, while they'll make their way. Let me plug the Mythic Championship qualifiers. May 11th, June 15th, Montreal, Toronto. Old PTQs are back. Me and Derek have been talking about how they've been miserable in the past, but also, you know, it's how I became friends with Derek. It's how I became friends with Andy. Like, this is what created these bonds. And when Ben Stark tweeted about why people would prefer the new style, the new MCQ over the old pre-TQs, people were talking about this. They wanted to play one tournament. They didn't want to play a collection of small tournaments that led to an RPTQ. And I can see, like, despite the grind, that there are benefits to the PTQ. And I just can't wait to see everyone at the first one. The Montreal one, it's going to be awesome. I'm going to see Elliot there. I'm going to see a bunch of people there. Yeah. Edgar's in the house. We were talking about Matthew Dilks, but about him, Kelly was mentioning him as the Amulet Savant, but we have the Amulet Savant, Edgar Malglahe, is in the house, and we've got Attila Fur on the way as well to chat about a bit about his deck that he won Magic Fest Calgary with. Full house, but Derek, quick thoughts on the MCQ. How excited are you?
I've been known to say this recently, that I hate Magic, but I love the Gathering. And I think what you said about going and seeing all these people is really important. I remember one of the second times we met was in a PTQ where Rob was playing Frankie, I think his name is, and they were like drafting in a limited, and you like walk over and you're like, who do you have? And I'm like, oh, Rob Lombardi. He's like, oh, and you're like, Rob Lombardi, I've never heard of him. And then of course he goes on to win a GP and be the original co-host of the show. So I think that PTQs, specifically when your area is really, really full of good players, is a good place to network, get to know good players and get better at Magic, even if the grind is a grind. I look really forward to it. Like, I'm probably going to go 1-3. I won't go 0-2 because I'm not that unlucky, and then just stick around and go for food after, because that's what's up.
Yeah, I can't wait. I really can't wait. Let's when you're covering the Harry T tournament, Derek, was there a lot of Amulet Titan?
There was only 5 copies there was 6 copies in the room, and 5 made top 8. And of the people that made top 8, 3 of them are like arguably, like, it was Edgar, Morgan, and Dilks. The guy who won Banting, and somebody I didn't know. So like, Edgar and Dilks are obviously 2 of the best players in the world, and Morgan's a Platinum Pro. So like, I would say if you put the 3 of them with any deck, they would win. But the fact that they did it all with Amulet, and 2 other people just also top 8 with Amulet, was definitely something. And everybody knows, like, I guess Canada's Amulet territory now, which is unfortunate.
Edgar, has anything changed since we last had you on the show? Has the deck evolved in any way? I think I tweeted at you about any possible like play draw strategies. Has there been much change since we last had you on?
Yeah, the deck's been evolving a little bit throughout the months. I don't know exactly how long ago it's been since I was last on here, but I guess the most recent change for the deck is the introduction of Coalition Relic as a main staple of ramp in the deck. And I think that's the biggest change. It's given us a lot of percentage points in the Blood Moon matchups and the discard spell heavy matchups as a pseudo 2-for-1. It's just been a very good card, something that we overlooked in the past.
I mean, are you getting good testing in, or are you just facing a bunch of mirrors locally?
I mean, that one tournament was pretty rough. I played 3 mirrors throughout the day. Once in the Swiss and then 2 in the top 4 and top 8. But you still get good testing. It's not like everyone's on it. It just so happened that the tournament on Sunday, all the Amulet players ended up doing well, aside from one of them. And the guy who didn't do well, I think he picked up the deck like a couple weeks ago or something. So, yeah, I mean, the mirror match isn't that interesting, but all the other matchups are still pretty interesting. And with the new mulligan rule, people are trying new things, and it's still a good time, I guess.
What were you expecting to see at in London?
I mean, I wish I knew, but it's I'm hoping that people are going to just stick to the good decks. I don't really think that any decks that were bad before have all of a sudden become good. People are saying otherwise, but I think that most of those decks, maybe like a couple are getting close to tier 1. But for the most part, I think people are just going to play the decks that were already good, and some of them improved more than others based on the mulligan rule. And if that's the case, then I like my chances because I think Amulet's pretty good in the current meta.
Morgan was teasing some sort of simulation article that's about to come out on face-to-face games. I'm intrigued what his results are for the mulligan. We'll be looking forward to that. But what is the current meta, Edgar? Like, what do you see? How do you define the current meta?
I mean, I think the level 0 is basically Phoenix, Dredge, and Tron being the most popular decks, or the best decks, if you want to call it that. And then maybe Shadow and Black-Green and humans below that. And I think for the most part, the vast majority of the metagame is probably going to deviate towards those decks. Control's on a bit of an uprise. I'm not sure if that's just my proximity to a lot of control players, but I think that deck is getting more popular. But for the most part, those are probably the 5 or 6 decks that I would expect the most of if the metagame was to stay relatively similar.
Okay, that makes sense to me. I got to plug the face-to-facegames.com Edmonton Open Plus is happening this Saturday. If you haven't heard about it, this is the first time, definitely go to F2F Quick little shout out to Jennifer Krotz in the chat. Always my girl. Attila, you're playing at the Edmonton Open Plus. You won Magic Fest Calgary with a Jund Breach deck. The people on this show were sort of making fun of. It's like, why is he playing black over white? How do you feel your deck was against Phoenix? I think we talked and you said it was, man, I forget. Look, against Phoenix, I think you're happy to face Dredge, probably happy to face Tron, and you were okay with your Phoenix matchup because you brought in the black spells because you wanted more answers to Thing in the Ice. I remember that, right?
So Dredge is a bit iffy. Like it's okay, but you have to get a chalice. Not a chalice, but a ley line for it, or one of your traps. Phoenix, I faced 4 times, and the matchups weren't really that close.
Oh, so you're really happy with the Phoenix match?
I'm really happy with the Phoenix match. Game 1, you just try to race, and you have a bit of disruption. You have to stop a thing in the ice, or else you die. So once you stop that, it's pretty good, because you're still racing. You keep hands based on speed and not anything else game 1. And game 2, you bring in like your chalice, your sphere, your ley lines, and your trap, and you shape some of the spells that aren't too good against them. So on top of being able to race, now you can just ley line them and disrupt their main plan.
John, can you remind Attila why you preferred white over black again? Why you didn't like the black, so Attila can respond on the show?
Yeah, Attila, first, congrats on your win. It was obviously very good, and you had a lot of local support there, which is really cool to see here. I've tested a lot of Valakut, and the white splash really did impress me because like you can play Path, you can play Timely Reinforcement, Ghostly Prison, Rip, Stony, etc. And like Path gives you the same kind of like percentage points against Death Shadow, Gurmag Angler, and Thingy Ice. And like honestly, like in my opinion, like in my view, like Black's value is tied to how good a Slaughter game is, and I don't think Slaughter game is very good right now. Whereas Path still lets you answer those Thingy Ice, and you can still play Ravenous Trap and Leyline of the Void without the Black. So I'd be very curious to hear like what your thought process was with picking Black.
Yeah. I mean, white if you use white for Path and you use the Black hate spells that you don't ever cast, unless they're free, that's probably fine. But if you want to go the way of Rest in Peace, I think that's too slow. Especially if you're on a draw, like against Dredge, they could have a board by turn 2 before you can rip, and unless you're racing, the 2 or 3 creatures will hurt a lot and probably kill you.
That makes sense. John?
No, that's fair enough. And Rip certainly doesn't have to get into the equation, but Stony Silence and Timely Reinforcement certainly does help here. You are playing the Spirit Guide version, so you could ramp out the faster Breach and the Chalice. So like perhaps you could play the white, and just pump out the turn 1 Rest in Peace as well. That was my thought, and yeah.
Yeah, did you play Titan Shift or Breach? Because
I played a bit of both, but for the white, it's mostly the Titan Shift version. Yeah,
I would probably agree for Titan Shift. White would likely be better, but I'm not sure how much I like it for Breach, just because I'm trying to maintain speed, and some of those I'd rather go with the free hate spells and then just pure speed. But it's possible, like Stony Silence and all that is good. They're obviously great cards, and white is probably the best sideboard options in Modern right now, or always.
No, that's fair enough. I was just thinking that like you don't have to be Black to play Leylines or Ravenous, which I believe you did. So that was my thought process.
Attila, what are you expecting this weekend at Edmonton?
I mean, it's the local Edmonton metagame, so I don't know, Phoenix, Humans, there's always Burn. It's just random, honestly. Couple of Amulet players, couple of Dredge players, 1 or 2 versus Death Shadow players that they always play. Like it's the Edmonton metagame.
Is there any reason for you not to want to run it back?
Just for fun, probably. Catch people off guard. What if I'm running Infect? That would be fun.
It would be, and we saw a fan of the show, Sergio Ferri, top 8ing Sao Paulo with Bogles. He did super well. He was like the top Bogles player in Calgary, at least from what I've seen from the top tables. Yeah. And I looked at his Boggle list, and I'm sure most people think it probably looks kind of bad. Like the one of Mana Type, the one of Open the Armory, and all that stuff. But he was able to get there. And I wonder if it's because it's as well positioned as he thinks it is. He loves the creature-based matchups, and we'll get him on the show at some point. But that deck, but he's been the only one so far that I've seen had success with it. John, what do you think about Bogles in the format?
I mean, it's probably fine. I mean, he was playing the 5th kill spell for Thingy Ice, which does make a difference in the Dromoka's command, right? And attacks through Humans, attacks through Burn, Dredge can never beat it. Tron, you just have to hope and pray and all that. If you have a certain view about how the metagame is shaping up, like Bogles is something that I always keep in my back pocket. I don't think it's never going to be one of the best decks in the format period, but I think there are going to be metagames where like it could be like a good metagame call for that weekend.
I think what I did learn is probably that part of Sergio's version is probably the optimal, like playing the full set of pass because of the metagame. Like John is the answer to all these troublesome creatures. But Ginger, do you have another take on Bogles?
I don't think Bogles is very good, but I play Phoenix, and my thing in the ice is always survive. When they don't survive, I have a second thing in the ice. So I don't know. I've just always crushed it. It's never really been close. If you play Bogles, like you just like to get free throwed against thing in the ice, in my opinion. But like it's modern, right? Like you don't play against Phoenix every single round. Maybe you play against Phoenix 3 times, twice in a GP. I don't know. I would never get caught dead with Bogles when thing in the ice is like the second best creature in the format.
Or fair enough. But for those of you who do want to play Bogles, like I do think they, like you mentioned, Derek, is the Phoenix everywhere? Thing in the ice is a problem. And I don't remember when I last played Bogles, which is years ago, if I was adopting 4-path for that whatever meta game there was at that time. But I guess now it's a must. So for people playing that, definitely look at Sergio's deck list, and he's always available online for you to pick his brain on the archetype.
One thing, don't play Mana Tide. It's a good meme, but don't.
What? No. Play Mana Tide. Whenever you Mana Tide your opponent, look them in the eyes and let them know that they should have played around Mana Tide. And then sideboard them out. And when they play around Mana Tide, game 2 and game 3, look them in the eyes after the match and say, I sideboarded them out.
John, you were testing with the new mulligan, and do you think Cheerios gained a lot because of the coming new mulligan rule?
Oh yeah, 100%. Someone ran a simulation of Monte Carlo simulation, and the number was that it decreased the fail rate by like 20%, which is significant. Have like a 68% win rate so far with Cheerios with the new mulligan rule, and I top 32 the challenge just playing for shits and giggles, but I could have been like X1 with higher play and etc. So the rule is definitely very helpful for Cheerios here. All the people that are testing for the Pro Tour and just I keep running into Amulet and Tron and Dredge, and they just have absolutely no hope. Just like run them over on turn 2, like half the time. But you can never beat the card Thoughtseize or Fatal Push, etc. So you're making a bet. And I was saying this in the chat, but at the Pro Tour, notably, the open deck list system does favor the answer decks, like the classic mid-range control, like wrong half of the deck problem. It solves that. A big part of Cheerios wins in game 1 comes from you going, hey, turn 1, for this strand, go, and people jam their thing in the ice, and you just kill them. But with the open deck list, it's going to be a lot harder to do that. So I think the mulligan rule is very good for Cheerios, but the open deck list is actually an appreciable obstacle. So I'm not sure. There's a Platinum Pro, Kellen Pastor, that's been documenting how good Cheerios has been in his testing. Maybe he'll play it, maybe not, but I think it's real under the mulligan rule.
I mean, Edgar in the chat says if you will play Cheerios, he's effed. So are you worried, Edgar, that people are going to adopt his deck?
You're not supposed to tell people that, Kurt. I mean, it's a horrendous matchup. It might be the worst possible matchup for Amulet, but I'm not worried. Like John said, I think that even though the deck got a boost, the fact that people are going to know you're playing it is a huge deal. And like I was saying earlier, I think that even with the sizable boost, the deck's just not strong enough on power level to bring it up to a contender. I think that people should just stick to the good decks.
Good point. Andy, while we're on the subject of these deck list things, being able to see your opponent's deck list before, we talked privately in our group chat that you're all for this change. So let's get your 2 cents on that.
Yeah. So one of my least favorite things about Modern is that a lot of the way the format shakes out is it takes away your ability to play a game of Magic. And I think with open deck lists, I think more games of Magic will actually get played because there'll be less of the drawing the wrong half of your deck problem, less of these super linear combo decks getting away with it because everyone knows what to mulligan for and that kind of stuff. So I think this change allows for that, and also kind of evens the playing field when it comes to feature matches and stuff like that. Like if you get featured and you're on this big pro team, like everyone knows what all these people are playing, and that's a pretty big disadvantage to them. And I think someone's got him. Yeah, there we go. All right, so I think it's a big disadvantage to the big teams, and I think what will happen is because I think LSB said something on Twitter. Is like everyone already knew what I was playing around like 2 or 3 anyway of like the constructed thing. So I think it just evened the playing field. More actual Magic gets to get played, and I like that. And I know me personally, as I'm terrified of like the lottery matchup that is Modern, and that's like one of my least favorite things. So at least knowing the matchup will make me feel a little bit better, make better decisions in mulliganing, which is already just such a huge stress point in Modern.
Right. I think the counter to that was something that I've seen brought online by brewers, and what John brought up in chat, like the surprise factor, and I also agree with that. But overall, all the benefits, I think John agrees with that as well. All the other benefits that you mentioned, and how good it is for coverage, how now people won't be afraid to like be deck tech really early and stuff like that. And it's just overall, it's way better. But I know like some brewers will miss that like gotcha factor for sure. I think that's something some players really live for, and that's going to be gone. But
yeah, but now when you have like a 1-of remand in your deck, your opponent will just be terrified of it the whole time. So like the weirdo cards still sort of do their job. It's just it's a little more out in the open. Like if there's a Settle the Wreckage in your deck, now your opponent might play around it, but it's like your weird card slot to like put people off kilter is still going to do exactly that. It's still going to freak people out.
Mana Tithe. Mana Tithe for sure.
Yeah, can you imagine knowing that your opponent is, first of all, a psychopath, and second of all, could Mana Tithe you at any moment?
One singleton. Sergio only plays one copy because he thinks multiples are bad, and I could see his logic for the Mana.
He's not wrong. It does get worse in multiples.
You only need to Mana Tithe
the more you play, the worse it gets.
You only need to Mana Tithe them once, and then they know. They don't know if you're playing 4. They don't know if you're playing 1.
But I also love the benefit of, I mean, Andy, I'm sure you've had this situation happen a lot where you play game 1 against someone, and then they just either mulligan to oblivion or have a bad hand. They just die, but you still have to kill them. And then game 2, you don't know what to do, like what to board because you haven't seen anything, and they know what you're playing, and then it's like, and then game 2 they have a huge edge against me because
I've never really felt bad about the literal free game 1 win. You're like, dang, I'm only 30% to win this game 2 after just a free win. So like, I never really mind those, but I guess the free wins are even worse now.
Attila, what is this? What did your win qualify you for?
For Barcelona.
Barcelona. That's okay. So that's what everyone's going to be playing these mythic qualifiers to qualify for.
Yeah.
So you won't be playing any of these.
I can't get a Ravager. It's so sad.
You won't even be able to participate.
No,
yeah, that does suck. Oh man.
Feel awful now.
How far away is Barcelona?
It's end of July.
Okay. Go ahead, Edgar.
I was going to say that complaining about not getting a Ravager is almost like complaining about winning game 1 and not knowing how to sideboard.
Yeah, I was going to say that Barcelona is overseas. I don't know exactly where it is.
I don't know, 20,000 miles away.
Yeah, that seems like a good guess. I think that's how far away it is.
How big is the Earth in miles? I have no clue. I could guess and be off by like a whole digit.
I was looking at the map the other day because I didn't like. I'm like, oh, London's 6 hours. Like, how is Australia 12 hours away? Like, that's just so far. It is. It's really far. Australia is just so far.
All right, I'm gonna go to John. You're preparing to write an article for face2facegames.com, looking at some trends, new trends, to see if you might be able to predict what's going to happen either at the Mythic Championship or whatever upcoming tournaments. What interesting trends have you seen?
Yeah, so I was interested in like the post KCI ban metagame. So I like any rational person would do, I dug up all the Star City game, Open and Classic and Grand Prix main event and MCQ and all the modern Magic Online PTQs and challenges in the last 3 months. So it's normal stuff here, and try to see the top 32 and the top 8 distributions. Just to see like if Dredge and Phoenix is really worth a ban in terms of banning Faithless Looting, and just trending to see we had this whether it was an anomaly that a bunch of Phoenix decks top 8'd and top 32 in March, or whether there's a trend forming that people have already adjusted to, because Modern does that, right? There was Death Shadow, there was Humans that were new decks that people didn't know how to play against, and it was dominant for a few months, and then people adjusted to it. So far, what I found was that other than the blip in the in paper play in March, like Phoenix has been one of the best decks, but not dominant whatsoever. I think it's a very good deck, and it's going to be one of the most played decks in Pro Tour. But I don't think it's appreciably better than anything else. And the other thing that I noticed was what is it called here? Yeah, the Magic Online metagame generally is accepted as being a spikier field with better and more informed players. And on Magic Online, the Phoenix shares have been trending downwards ever since March, I think, and it kind of culminated in last weekend's MCQ, the Mox playoffs, where people had to qualify to play in these playoff events, and notably, like only 50% of them, like Phoenix, like it was like 9 out of 60 people played Tron, and then similar numbers of Humans, etc. So the best players in the world who qualified for this playoff event, only like under 10% of them chose Phoenix, and Phoenix didn't do very well. So I think that like if we accept that Magic Online is a leading indicator of future metagames in paper, maybe there's something there to predict the metagame in the Pro Tour. So I think that it'll be pretty flat here. There were day 2 Grand Prix metagames where Phoenix was like 20%, and everyone was calling for bans. But I think it's going to be more muted. I think the top deck's going to be like 15, 14% at most, and we're going to have a pretty balanced metagame. So that's my findings so far. I'll keep writing the article, and it should come out next week.
But you're still seeing Tron as one of the top, and Humans as a surprise. Is that it?
I don't think it's a surprise here. I think the trend is that Phoenix has moved away from the gut shots, where Surgical main deck is irrelevant against them, and they're also adopting real sideboard cards like Surgical Extraction and Grafdigger's Cage, which, in my opinion, they should have been doing all this time. So combined with those two and the fact that like Just Guy and like those types of decks have been declining, I think it makes sense that the spiky online grinders are picking up Tron and Humans and Tron as well. So that's the biggest trend I'm seeing.
And the winner was Dredge, right? Was your deck, John?
It was indeed Dredge, yes.
Playing Ghost Quarter in the main.
Let's not talk about
that. One copy of Ghost Quarter in the main against Tron. If Tron's one of the top decks in your breakdown, then I think that's a stronger argument.
If I can just remind you, in Calgary, I played against 3 straight Tron decks. I had them under a Ghost Quarter, a Life in the Loam Lock, and I still lost both of them. So, scoreboard, I guess.
Yeah. Attila, actually, do you think you might actually play Infect? Like, is that a backup deck that you have for the Open Plus?
Yeah, I mean, I have Phoenix, Infect, Bogles. I mean, I tried playing Phoenix and Bogles and lost horribly locally, so maybe not so good for me. But I'm a terrible Phoenix player. Maybe I'll just stick to shifting.
Have you touched Infect in a while? How's that been?
Oh no, it's been a long time. You just count to 10, right? It's fine.
It's easy. Now, how does it feel that now that you're champion, now that we're like weeks away from your win, has it set in that you're the champ? Is it still unbelievable that you took everything down?
It's still pretty unbelievable, like mostly because I started 3-2.
Right. You went up to me, and I'm like, okay, let's.
I didn't expect it.
I was like, let's hope for a good day 2 record, and then you won the whole thing.
Yeah.
And you lost to the 2. It was funny because you lost to the 2 matchups that you didn't want to see.
I lost to Infect in round 3, and I lost to Green Black Elves in round 5. And I mean, I have no angers or anything, so it's a race, and they're generally quicker than me. But I didn't expect. I mean, I knew people would be playing the decks, but it's not part of the metagame. So if I face them, I lose. Whatever. It's modern. Can't do much about it.
Do you, for this deck, do you test with anyone in particular? Do you have a team? Are you going to have a team for Barcelona, you think? Do you know how you're going to be testing for that tournament?
I'm not fully sure yet. Like, probably going to test with the local guys at Star Lotus, just like we did for Calgary. And I'm pretty sure we'll make some plans with Andrew Huska for Barcelona and see how that works out.
Oh, yeah, sweet. Huska also,
yeah.
You beat him in top 4. So
he can't beat a Scape Shift deck ever, so that's probably why.
I asked Derek, and I think I asked a previous guest on the show, I forget who, Edgar, how are you preparing for the limited portion of the tournament?
I wish I knew, Car.
Do you need me to print the decks? Do I have to print the decks, cut them out for you?
Just print off 10 of every common and ship them over to my house. If you can make the packs too, that would be nice. I don't know. I'm gonna do everything I normally do. I normally go pretty hard for like week 1 limited Grand Prix, and I generally do pretty well at those. I think I'm like decently good at evaluating limited formats off the gate. So I'm gonna research a lot of the card, look at the card interactions when the set gets spoiled completely, look at the relevant power and toughness thresholds for the formats and the curve thresholds, and try to get some good fundamentals. And then when it goes on Magic Arena 3 days before or whatever, I'm just gonna probably play 20 hours a day or something.
Derek, do you think, like, so I don't like misunderstand you, do you think like not actually drafting the cards is just, you think drafting the actual cards is too much effort, or just not useful enough?
I think obviously if there was an easier way to do it and simulate it properly where I would feel in a good position that I'd be getting good results, then yeah, it'd be very, very much worth it. Because when you draft and when you actually see things come in certain pick orders and how other people are evaluating and like certain interactions, like it's very important compared to just theorizing about it. But I don't think printing off literal probably thousands of cards, like Edgar said, 10 of each common, 5 of each uncommon, and then like trying to simulate a pack the right way is like worth it. You have programs that can probably do that close enough, if not already well enough. And I think like if your limited prowess isn't good enough to have a good card evaluation for you to think that you can, like, I don't know, 4-2 limited at a pro tour, you're probably not going to win anyways. So like maybe it's best to just not worry about it.
I do wonder if the old tools still exist. Like back in the day, I think I used something like Net Draft or whatever that allowed you to draft with other people to build those decks.
I followed an account on Twitter. I don't remember. Somebody retweeted it. They have a simulator that did it. And I know when I used to play Cockatrice, mind you, this was like 7 years ago, somebody always uploaded the full set and you could do drafts if you wanted to. So I don't actually know if there are other resources. I've just always played on Magic Online. To me, like, this is unique, but not a huge obstacle.
I was just curious if you guys were going to like set up the 8 of you just to do one of these like Cockatrice drafts, basically.
We could. I mean, Morgan made a simulator to simulate 22 million hands or something ridiculous. I'm sure Morgan could design something, but it's probably just easiest for us to do something in-house the week before. I don't know when it comes up on Magic Online, but I also have a fully stocked Moto account from my Mox qualification that Wizards gave me that has 10,000 play points on it. So if it's up before the Pro Tour starts, we could just draft on that account. But I don't know actually when it goes up on Magic Online.
It's worth noting that as a team, we kind of avoided doing real life drafts, even for the other brochures as well. We just found it not worth the time. We would do a couple the day before just to get yourself in the mindset, but we would never do it during testing. We would just huddle around a computer. We found that much more effective.
Yeah, when I queued for Amulet, I played like 10 online drafts and then just had talked with Rob for a couple hours about it. And I forward to that limited portion of that PT for my first PT. So I don't think you need to put in that much effort. You just need to be a confident limited player, I think.
I can imagine, Edgar, was it possibly because all 8 of you would end up thinking the same way? So it's like pretty predictable how you draft and you're just doing the same thing, too much groupthink, or?
Yeah, getting inbred is definitely a part of it. I think the biggest problem is just the amount of time it takes, and you just get more valuable data if 8 different people play online and you really capture everything.
Alrighty. All right, we're at the tail end of the show. Attila, besides the Edmonton Open Plus, what's up for? What can we look forward to from you?
Probably not much. Like I don't travel much for GPs. I don't really go to big tournaments that much. Don't even drive to Calgary too often nowadays. So we'll have to see. I guess I have no idea.
All right. Got that trophy in the background there, right
yeah,
there.
We may as well have it there.
Sweet. And we'll talk to you again once we get closer to MC Barcelona. Thanks for coming on. Thanks for answering John's questions about your deck list. I think it does make sense, what you said. And good luck this weekend. Good luck this Saturday.
Yep. Thanks for having me.
That was Attila Fur, Magic Fest Calgary champion, Jund Breach, funky deck. Definitely check it out if you want to play something that's not of the ordinary. He ended up winning with matchups that he felt were favorable in that top 8. He managed to take down Andrew Huska, playing Is It Phoenix. I believe he took down Sam Party in the finals, who was playing
Party on
Shadow. So yeah, I think he felt pretty good against those matchups, and he backed that up. He backed that up by crushing them. Andy, anything you want to add for Modern?
I guess I still would just play Is It Phoenix. Not much else there. I think it's just an incredibly consistent deck. You see so much of your deck in the games that you play that it's so hard not to fail sometimes. The new mulligan rule has seemed pretty awesome. I think like it doesn't benefit Is It as much because I almost never mulliganed anyway, because all your hands are just like 3 cantrips, a threat, and a removal spell. Those are all your hands. And so, I don't know. I think Tron is the deck I've seen the most uptick on Magic Online because of the mulligan rule, and I think it does benefit quite a bit from it. So I think it and Dredge are the 2 decks that were already good that benefited the most. So those are the 2 decks that I would look out for because they're already proven and they get definitely better because of the mulligan rule. So those are 2 things I would keep my eye on.
That makes sense. I was watching Huska pilot Phoenix. He was crushing everyone, and then it just they're happy to play these decks. And Sean D, he was Dollywall. He was qualified, won the MCQ at the Magic Fest, and had a strong, decent performance at the main event, and could have done better if 1 or 2 matches fell his way. So still definitely a top contender, but maybe not as good heading into the MC. Who knows? But any last thoughts from you, Derek?
No, and excited to go to London. Excited to hang out with the Queen. Gonna break out the misplaced log.
Yes.
Me and Edgar are taking the same flight there and back, I think, as long as I don't miss my flight. So we're gonna get misplaced.
Terrible. More vlog, and if you could get more Edgar in your vlog, that'd be awesome.
The first one had Edgar playing piano, and I think that was the peak of the vlog.
Okay, you gotta link that to me after. I want to check that out. We had my friend Cedric Phillips preview his new vlog series with some he actually has a friend or someone he's hiring as a cinematographer, someone who's like filming and editing for him. So we're gonna see like a higher level of production. Like I've seen Paul Chian do his stuff. I've seen Marshall Sutcliffe have decent blogs. So I'm interested to see what happens when someone goes to the next level and has someone like really edit in a more professional fashion. But obviously still look forward to the Misplaced vlogs. All the versions of it, whatever version, not the upside down version. And when you figure out how to turn the camera right side up 10 minutes in.
This version won't be upside down unless we're in Australia.
Right.
Everything in Australia is upside down.
Edgar, any last words before we head out?
No, thanks for having me on here. Hopefully I come back as MC champion next time.
And well, I hope so too. Matthew Dilks, like everyone like around you seems to be crushing it. So I expect that to continue, whether it be this tournament or the next. John, anything from you?
Good luck to everyone going to Grand Prix Niagara Fall. I can't be there, but I wish I did. Legacy, I think it's in a pretty diverse spot right now. So too bad there's no coverage. And I think a lot of pros won't make it there because it's a week before the Pro Tour. But I'm excited to follow along what goes on in Legacy. And then in 1 week, I'm going to watch my favorite format in a Pro Tour. So that's exciting.
All right. Good luck to Elliot at the Magic Fest Niagara. And if you want to support the show, just like, subscribe, tell people about the show, the YouTube, the Anchor link, whatever, iTunes, everything, or go to patreon.com/firststrike. And we will see you next week. Hopefully Elliot is the new Magic Fest champ, as he likes to call his shots, but never gets there. We'll see. Bye, guys.